Well, here's a headline for you. Sex change operations are now tax deductible, thanks to a ruling by the U.S. tax court last week. The ruling involves the case of this woman, Rhiannon O'Donovan. Rhiannon used to be a man. O'Donovan sued the IRS for not allowing her, after she had her sex change operation, to deduct the $25,000 cost of it from her income. The IRS said her operation was cosmetic, it was not medical, and she could not take the deduction. However, the U.S. tax court just reversed that ruling in an opinion that could be precedent-setting. So, is that the right decision? Joining me now for a fair and balanced debate, Sandy Rios. She's the president of the Culture Campaign, and Bernard Whitman is a former Clinton pollster. He supports the tax deduction. Afternoon, folks.
Hello.
All right,
Hi, Megan.
So this came out from the U.S. tax court, and the issue was, is this operation, the sex change operation, medical, or is it cosmetic? And the majority of the U.S. tax court said it is medical, it is not cosmetic. Bernard, you say they got it exactly right. Tell us why.
This is a question of basic fairness and respect for all human beings, no matter how different they or their situations might be from our own. You know, no matter how uncomfortable some of us may be with gender identity disorder and transgender individuals, every major medical organization, from the American Psychiatric Association to the National Institutes of Health, recognize the legitimacy of treating gender identity disorder with hormone therapy and gender reassignment surgery. So all the tax court did is agree and accept the findings of the medical establishment and allow this individual to deduct a small portion of the cost of the surgery. So frankly, I think that this is a right and appropriate decision on the tax court's
Sandy,
part.
is it as cut and dry as that?
No, not really, because I think you can obviously make the case if you think that your nose is too long or your breasts are too small and you want them altered, that we should get a tax deduction for that too. This is cosmetic. And the sad thing for me is not the tax dollars going, it is the game that's being played with people who are so tormented in this situation. Because when they go for help, they are told that there's no answer, there's no therapy. The only answer is, in fact, the therapist in this situation counseled for this surgery. And this surgery means the removing of male organs, the implanting or the hormone treatment to create breasts. It really is, it's a tragic situation. And when they talk about how wonderful and how relieving it is, they never tell the rest of the story. What happens when you're a man who looks like a woman? And you have to go through life with that kind of rejection, when you have to go back and face your children and tell them that you've had this operation, when you have to sort out your marital circumstances. It is tragic, and the tax code should not be supporting or encouraging anything of this nature.
And part of that was the situation for this particular plaintiff, who had lived his life as a man and had a few children, and said that he knew from a very early age that he was meant to be a woman. Bernard, you know, basically, the question she's raising is, it may be sort of a mental disorder, but it may do more harm than good to go through with the physical operation. Is that even relevant in the tax court? Is it for other people, you know, outside of the tax code to be opining about such things?
You know, I think in questions of medical necessity, we ought to listen to doctors and therapists. And quite frankly, Sandy, I find it rather offensive that you would compare this individual's lifelong struggle with a very serious and recognized mental disorder with a nose job. I mean, this is an individual who served our country in the Coast Guard, who struggled with this for decades, and only after extensive medical consultation over many, many years, went through a very traumatic operation, and now is finally able to live a full and complete life.
Okay, go ahead, Sandy.
Let me tell you something. I know something about this. I have a very good friend who went through this, who was counseled to have this sex change because he was tortured. Children, family, career. So he starts the hormone treatment. And when I tried to find help for him, someone to help him struggle with this and remain a man, remain a father to his children, remain a husband to his wife, I couldn't find any help because the professionals kept saying, there's no hope. He just has to have this operation. Well, we intervened and had some intervention for him, and he was able to stop the treatments, get some help, counseling that was counter to the professionals, and now he's a fully devoted father, husband, and he never had the sex change operation. And I'm telling you, this is bad business, and I don't care what the professionals say. They are counseling people to do something that is really very bad for them. There's a book called Gender Bender, and if you read that book, it talks about how wonderful that all these people that struggled had this operation. But it stops with the operation. It never paints the picture of what it's like to go home, tell your son, tell your daughter,
Bernard,
tell your friends. Doesn't do that.
Does she raise the point, Bernard, that this
tragic.
is not, because the folks on Rhiannon's side say it's like an appendectomy, it's like getting chemo, it's a truly medical procedure, and therefore it should be tax deductible. Sandy's raising all sorts of questions about whether it really is comparable to a physical disease about which there's no controversy. I'll let you weigh in.
Well, with all due respect to Sandy, and I think it's great that you helped your friend through this, but your approach flies in the face of decades of medical research and scientific knowledge about the problem with gender identity disorder. And fundamentally,
this is a new discovery that it's okay.
The tax court should not be in the business of making a judgment about what is medically necessary and what is not. I think we should listen to the National Institutes of Health and leading psychiatrists and therapists.
Okay. I got to go because we're out of time, but I do want to point out to our viewers that the tax court said the actual procedure was tax deductible except for the $5,000 that was used to pay for the breast augmentation part of the surgery, which is a little bit of an incongruity.
Yeah, go figure, Megan.
I mean, I don't really understand.
You can remove
it seems
the
like it
male
would be
organ,
all
but
or
not
none,
the breast
but in any event.
augmentation.
Got to go. Sandy and Bernard, thank you very much. It was a respectful debate, and I appreciate you coming on.